Hello, today is September 9th, 2020, and today we're going to be going over the 2020 electoral map based on the approval of Trump in certain states. So I'm going to open up the website. Where is it? Yep, here. It's on civics.com if you want to go look at it yourself. And I'm just going to go straight to the map. I don't think you guys see this, so whatever. That's why I said the site name. Alright, so this is going to be kind of a quick video. Or quicker video than our 20-minute, 15-minute usual. Washington has a 30% and a 33% disapproval. Oregon has a 33% disapproval of Trump. Or negative 33 approval, whatever. California has a negative 42 approval of Trump. New York has a negative 32 approval of Trump. Vermont has a negative 56 approval of Trump. Maryland, my home state, has a negative 42 approval of Trump, which is the same as California. Delaware has a negative 25 approval of Trump. New Jersey has a negative 30 approval of Trump. Connecticut has a negative 31 approval of Trump. Rhode Island has a negative 37 approval of Trump. And Massachusetts has a negative 49 approval of Trump. And Hawaii has a negative 45. DC isn't on here, but you know it's going blue. And I'll just fill in the districts. Well, actually, I'm not even going to do the districts right now. So we're going to save the surprise ones for the end, I guess. Utah has a +3 approval of Trump. A lot of this is probably because Mitt Romney and Gary Johnson have endorsed Biden, and they did not have any approval bump after the Republican National Convention. So Idaho and Wyoming have a 16 and 25 approval of Trump. So they're both safe states. Safe means 15 or over. North Dakota and South Dakota. Actually, North Dakota has a safe approval of Trump. South Dakota has a 15% approval of Trump, but it's like 14.9. So I'm going to keep that as likely because technically it's likely. Again, this doesn't mean it's likely going to Trump. It's definitely going to Trump. So there you go. Nebraska had negative 10 approval of Trump. That's also a likely margin. Kansas has a negative 9 approval of Trump. Oklahoma has a negative 20. Oh, no, plus. Kansas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma are plus of what I just said. Arkansas has a +28 approval of Trump. Louisiana and Mississippi both have a +8 approval of Trump, which is likely. Alabama has a +14 approval of Trump, which is actually likely. Tennessee has a +11 approval of Trump, which is 11. Kentucky has a +17 approval of Trump, which is safe. West Virginia has a +33 approval of Trump, which it was like 40 or 50. Indiana has a +8 approval of Trump. And Missouri has a +9 approval of Trump. So, we'll do the other ones in a second, but Ohio has a -7 approval of Trump. If I've been saying negative for all the states that are red, just to make sure that you know it's plus approval. But we're actually switching to blue, so Ohio is a negative approval of Trump by 7 points, which is our which is our exact likely margin. Pennsylvania has a -13 approval of Trump, which is almost safe, actually. Michigan is safe, -16 approval of Trump. Wisconsin has a -11 approval of Trump. And Minnesota has a -20 approval of Trump. Illinois has a -31 approval of Trump. Iowa has a -7 approval of Trump. Oh God, this is looking horrible for Trump. But remember, this is approval based, so don't worry if you're a Republican, or think happy if you're a Democrat. Just we'll see on election night what happens. Virginia has a negative 20 approval of Trump. North Carolina has a negative 8 approval of Trump. Oh wait, Virginia's safe. South Carolina has a +1 approval of Trump. So we'll give him that state by tilt margin. We'll just do lean. We won't even do tilts this time. Georgia has a negative 10 approval of Trump. So that's likely. Florida has a negative 8 approval of Trump. Texas has a negative 2 approval of Trump. Colorado has a negative 22 approval of Trump. New Mexico has a negative 11 approval of Trump. Nevada has a negative 23 approval of Trump. Arizona has a negative 11 approval of Trump, which is the same as New Mexico, which is pretty odd. Alaska, which is kind of weird, has a negative 8 approval of Trump. Montana, also weird, negative 1 approval of Trump. And New Hampshire, negative 22 approval of Trump. Maine has a negative 23 approval of Trump. So, if this is the election of people based on how if this is, God, I can't talk. This is the election if people vote based on whether they approve of Trump or not right now. Wow, that's a lot of blue. Whoa. Almost went like that as well. Oh, if it shifted 5%, we would have had that. Oh my God, if it shifted 10%, which I'm not preferring, I'm not saying anything, it would look like this. Jesus. Oh, actually, this would be safe, and then that would be safe, and that would be safe. 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 This was already like that. This would be safe. This would be safe. This would be safe. I believe this would be likely. And this would also be likely. And this would be likely. And this would be safe. This would be safe. This would be lean. And this would also be lean. This is the election if it was based on approval, if it shifts 10 points even more against Trump. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching.